Common Law Academy, and also Voice of Liberty Ministries. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about what we do. We got some of our team here. Kirk, I think, is catching a smoke right now. And we have Josiah and Tina and Kelly. And we're here out of Nampa. And basically what we do is educate, equip, and empower you to assert and defend your Creator-endowed rights. And so we're going to get into status and jurisdiction tonight. Who are you, and how does the law apply to you? Because the way our culture is anymore in this country is almost all roads lead to court. And let me paraphrase that. All roads should lead you to federal court because our state courts are a joke. They are horrendous. So anyways, but while you go to state court, you just build your federal cases. So when they violate your rights some more. But anyways, the biggest victory is staying out of court. I've been trying to get arrested now for about 7 years unsuccessfully. I think when you start talking about people's pay grades, they kind of just leave you alone. So anyways, but we're not here to teach you a bunch of statutes and codes and memorize a bunch of things that would make you sound like a lawyer. We're going to break it down. We do a radio show called Law for Dummies. So what we try to do is break it down so grandmother can understand it, okay? So Kirk does that show with me on Monday nights on Blog Talk Radio. And Lee is not going to be with us. And tomorrow we have Fred Kelly Grant. He's 81 years old. He called tonight. He wasn't feeling a little good, but he will be here tomorrow. He is the author of Justice My Ass. And it has a donkey here with some justice scales hanging out off the back of its butt. So anyways, that's Fred's book. He's been a prosecutor. He's prosecuted the mafia way back in the day. Then he decided to defend the mafia, be the defense attorney. And then he was a private attorney. He clerked for federal judges. And so he's a wealth of knowledge. We're really good to have this guy on our team. So he will be with us tomorrow. So who's from Utah here? How many people? We got 2 people from Utah. Anybody from Nevada? Okay. Anybody from California? Yeah, I got some emails. Maybe they're coming tomorrow. And okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I'm looking around and I'm seeing some impressive people in our presence here. I see some activists, some educated people, some people that put their liberty on the line to have a voice for those who don't. Is everybody aware of the video of the nurse who got arrested? It's went viral on Facebook. Has anybody not seen that video? Raise your hand. Okay. All right, we're going to show just a small portion of that. And so basically this nurse, and see, this is why we're here tonight. It's ridiculous that we have to do this seminar, because people shouldn't be trying to violate your rights and infringing upon your rights and penalizing you and giving you fees when you haven't broken the law. Or basically, I'll break it down even better. How about there is no injured party? It's called a victimless crime. Anybody rent a Redbox video or watch Netflix, or when you watch a movie, it's the first thing that comes up. On the beginning of the movie, it says, piracy is a crime. And then it says, it is not a victimless crime. So they're telling you, if you bootleg our video and sell it to other people, then you're stealing from us, and it's not a victimless crime. And most of our courts are charging people with victimless crimes when there is no injured party. And so basically, you know, we used to have a saying, no harm, no foul, right, Tom? And basically, like if you're driving down the road and you accidentally go over the double yellow line because your soda spilled off your console, when you recorrect, all of a sudden you're getting pulled over, and in California, that's probably a $400 ticket, okay? No harm, no foul? Wow. And now your insurance is going up, So we're going to teach you how to basically stay out of court, how the Bill of Rights is. All you need to know is 10 Bill of Rights. Right? We have 10 commandments in the Bible. We have 10 Bill of Rights that affect our status and jurisdiction here in America. And we don't need to know anything else. In fact, you don't even need to know that because we know it on the inside. But anyways, we have Tom Munns with us today. I wanted to bring him up. Because my IT guys aren't here yet.
Was I supposed to help you with that?
Anyways, what we do with the ACLA is we want to promote unity amongst all the liberty groups. We're friends with people with Act for America, Health Freedom Idaho, John Birch Society, Tea Parties, whatever affiliation we could network with people. We want to honor, the people that are doing the work. We're just not all about us. So I asked Tom to come, and he brought us some constitutions. So they're in the back in that metal plate back there. So grab one on the way out. Grab a free constitution there. They cost him $1, but anyways. So all this stuff in the pamphlet, basically, I've gotten over the years, either created a lot of these templates or I've gotten from other conferences. And these conferences run from $300 to $500. But I found out that if I charge for them, people don't know what they're paying for. Okay? And not all the times, you got $300 in your pocket. Like I used to, when I first started going to church, they would have these prosperity conferences and the packet would cost $50. So I guess I was never going to have prosperity, right? So anyway, so we do this conference free, but we do take donations. And I'm basically going to leave my briefcase open up here. So if anybody wants to give us a donation, or if you want to write out a check, it's ACLA, American Common Law Academy. That's our sign up there. So I'm going to hand the mic off to Tom Munns here. He's the president for the John Birch Society in this region. And you can introduce yourself.
Well, like you said, I'm Tom Munns. Thank you guys for standing here and not running out the door after hearing my name. I am they call me the area coordinator for the John Birch Society. I'd like to be called president, but maybe in the future. Right now, I barely feel like I'm a community organizer. I do have all of the area of Idaho from Chalice and Salmon south, all the way east and all the way west, and I cover the western side of Wyoming now. They just expanded my territory. I wanted to be able to, I appreciate you guys, Tony and stuff, for allowing me to speak. I don't know how many of you guys know who the John Birch Society is. How many of you guys, I should ask, how many of you don't know who we are? One person doesn't know who we are. So then my next question is how many of you guys actually know exactly who we are? The truthful understanding of who we are. Okay, so I'd like to take a couple minutes in doing that. Just kick me when I need to stop. The John Birch Society started in December of 1958. We're the longest standing education and action liberty organization in the country. One of them. I don't know, when did Eagle Forum start? 60s. Okay, so we beat you just by a little bit. John Birch was actually the name of an Army captain that was killed behind the enemy lines 10 days after World War II. And that is our namesake. We believe that if everybody truly understood who the John Birch Society was, since everybody supports our troops, that everybody be a member. The problem is that we've had smear campaigns while we've been exposing the conspiracy, and most Americans believe that anything related to conspiracy is conspiracy theory, and people don't even know the difference in terms. Well, everybody in this room probably can cite Black's Law related to those two terms, but most people don't really understand. In 1967, there was a document that I actually have in my possession that was certified, that actually, and it's unclassified or declassified, that shows that the CIA created the phrase conspiracy theory to be able to try to cover up the JFK assassination. So the question then is, if you happen to believe in conspiracy theory, and you look at me and other people that talk about things that might be foreign to you as a conspiracy theorist, what you probably mean to say is that we are probably into conspiracy, and we probably have more documentation to back up what we're talking about than you could ever imagine. So, I got active about 8 years ago. I had never read a book, which was interesting for a lot of people. I'm 54 years old, so you can imagine I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I've spent a lot of time reading since then. There was a period of time where I didn't work for a while because I really wanted to decide what I wanted to do, and I feel like the Lord Almighty has thrust me into activism. I've exhausted every single day of my life with 18-hour days, reading, getting involved with every liberty group that I can, figuring out if a square peg like me could fit in a round hole like some of these other groups. And I ended up, years later, being asked to be the coordinator for the John Birch Society. I wanted to share a couple more things with you real quick. Most of you, if you want to know anything about us, go to jbs.org. Don't believe anything that you hear, even from me if you don't want to, because you guys probably into verifying anyway. Our membership includes 2 monthly magazines. They are thematic magazines. They are extremely relevant. I remember specifically after studying the Constitution for most of the time that I've been active, there was very little read about taught about the Electoral College. And so I found out while I was talking about some of the common things that the Electoral College was something I really didn't know much about. And lo and behold, 3 days later, the John Birch Society comes out with a new American magazine issue that gives the complete history of the Electoral College. It is one of the best sources of information that you'll find anywhere. If you guys are scrambling, trying to find information on particular issues, membership allows you to access all of their archives by keyword. You get magazines. The magazines are about 50 pages every couple of weeks, so it's quite a bit. But I found an app on my phone that will read the digital copy to me, so I'm pretty happy about that. This agenda, if you want a copy, I have a bunch of them in my car. It explains everything in detail who we are. The bulletin that we have right here is for members. It is an action plan, and we believe that the reason why the communists have hated us for as long as we have, and they've actually admitted it in YouTube videos if you look them up, we are the most successful organization, and they say that we are, because we work on, everything is done out in the open, and we work in a concerted national effort to be able to make things happen. Right now, we're working on several things. We've been working on the CONCON, the application for an Article 5 convention, which is huge. It is going to slam you guys this year at the legislature. Whether you believe that our Constitution presently has been ratified or not is irrelevant at this point, since they're acting like it kind of exists while they're applying the Article 5, while they're poop canning it, which is the reason why we're here on the other hand, so it is a little bit different. We are launching an Agenda 21 campaign. We have 4 events going on. We have one in Spokane, Northern Idaho. We've got one in Boise on October 16th, Twin on October 17th, Rexburg on the 18th, and Spokane on the 19th. If you guys don't know about Agenda 21, I will give you a video. I will give you your email address and I'll send you links. This stuff does cost me money, but this is important, and I've always put my money where my mouth is. And putting my money where my mouth is making sure that you guys have the information that you need in any way that I can make it happen. If you can encourage other people to go to the event, I'm asking you guys to help me act out. Agenda 21, is there anybody that doesn't know what Agenda 21 is? Agenda 21, you're going to think I'm crazy, and you'll probably walk out the door, so I probably shouldn't tell them.
Go ahead, tell them.
It is the grandest global redistribution of wealth scheme in the history of planet Earth. It is a way to fundamentally transform every part of every country's economic system and local form of government at one time, under one head. Welcome in the New One World Government, the New World Order. HLN came out the other day on a video that actually said, Houston, I don't know if you guys caught this, just in case you think I'm a little crazy about the New World Order thing. These people are not going home. They're learning to live in the New World Order. It was just from mainstream media site. So if you guys have any questions about membership is pretty simple. It's $87 a year for 2 issues a month and a monthly action bulletin. And we have chapters that are forming and existing all over the state, all over the country actually. And we believe that we have the action plan and the education framework to make us the most successful organization. I shouldn't say the most successful. the most successful organization with what we do, related to the action agenda items and the educational concepts that we have. So if you have any questions, you want a card from me, I'm sitting over there.
Where's the meeting October 16th?
October 16th is actually, you're going to love this, it's actually at the Boise City Police Association Clubhouse. Yeah, it's 7311 Potomac. Also, I should probably tell you, if I have a sec, since we're talking about law, the last 3 years, with the Ferguson and Baltimore and my understanding of the war on police that actually began in the 60s, I felt like there was a need to be able to try to reach out to law enforcement. Now, there's a lot of people that like to drop F-bombs about law enforcement and say, well, they're bad people and they're this and that and the other. The one thing that most people don't realize is that it's easy to label other people things that you're not even aware of. Sure, they're bad cops, sure, they're good cops, but I'm telling you guys, there's more people that are like us than not. I've traveled the state, I've visited every sheriff, I've visited every police chief, and I've taken the opportunity to visit every officer possible, giving them information about what's been going on. They have no idea, most of them have no idea about the Southern Poverty Law Center. They have no idea about the federal training and about how the Southern Poverty Law Center actually gets their information to be able to train local jurisdictions. This is a huge problem, and I don't need to tell you guys in this room this. I'd like to be able to tell you guys that something really huge is happening. I've made a friend with some people in the executive committee of the Idaho State Police. And I've been asked to consider being a permanent part of post-academy training. And what that's going to allow us to do, you guys, is it's going to allow me to open up the door for other people to come in and talk about liberty groups. Why the 3%ers are who they are. Why the Republican Liberty Caucus is who they are. Why the ACLA is who they are. Who started it? Why did they start? Were their goals met? What kind of things are getting in the way? And the other most important part is, where do you get your information from? When we can show that the weight of the record is in our favor, what's that going to do? So we have a lot of great things happening. There's going to be a couple of steps that we're going to have to do before we can actually make that happen, but I see it happening pretty shortly. So most of the time, while you guys may not know me and you may see me popping in and out and around, I'm working as fast and as diligently and consistently as I can to try to gain as much ground as we've lost as fast as I can. So I appreciate you, appreciate Tony, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. My wife and I are both members of the John Birch Society. The New American Magazine, did you bring one?
I have stuff back here if you guys are.
Yeah, grab a copy of that magazine. It's actually real news. For those who realize that our mainstream is lamestream. At any rate, it's good to get... Yes, very back. Brian, is there any more of those packets in that upright container? Yeah, we have packets here for our conference. And everything in this packet has brought remedy. So we're not up here talking about theory. We want to bring remedy. We want to keep you out of controversy, out of court. But if you're in court, I'll just share our mission here. The ACLA's mission is to educate and awaken the identity of the individual through common law with common sense application. Okay, to equip the people with the tools of knowledge and remedy to communicate their freedom to those who would oppose it. Is anybody opposing anybody's freedom in here tonight? Anybody in court? You don't have to answer that question. To empower the people to conduct, defend, and assert with authority their creator-endowed rights. Is there such thing as constitutional rights? No. Even the Supreme Court rules that the Constitution guarantees and protects those natural rights. The Constitution calls them creator-endowed rights. So basically, how I got into this, getting railroaded one time after another. I'm like, I'm not a criminal. I haven't committed any felonies. Why am I always getting fined? Why am I getting harassed? And I finally realized what my calling is. I'm a bully magnet. Right? Like, if there's a bully anywhere around me, they will just come right right to me. I have another anointing too. When I'm in a movie theater, people who kick the back of other people's chairs always sit behind me in the movie theater. And they'll kick my chair and I'll go, excuse me, you're kicking my chair. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. And 5 minutes later. So anyways, those are my two purposes in life. No. Anyways, so just to share a quick story, and then I'm going to let Kirk introduce himself. He's part of our team also. Has anybody been to Torrey Pines in California? It's okay. Beautiful place, isn't it? So they charge us, so I pull up and they're like, it's $12 to come in here. It's like, this is my party. Okay, fine. You guys got expenses. Here's the $12. I go up to the top of the parking lot. It takes like 5 minutes to drive all the way up to the top. And then I walk down the trail to the ocean and back. And it was like an hour and 45 minutes for me. I'm out of shape. So I get up and I'm sweating and I pop the hatchback up on my Sequoia. And I have a walnut grape salad like on ice and fresh organic strawberries. And I'm like sweating and I'm eating this. I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then I hear from behind me, sir, you can't eat here.
That's not ours.
And I see the ranger star on his shoulder. I go, excuse me? No, you're not allowed to eat here. You're going to have to go out, out of the parking lot and out of the reserve here and onto the freeway if you want to eat. I'm like, and my wife sees this coming because she's around me half the time, and she's like, I'm out of here. She knows, here comes the spiel that I heard. I can't help it, I'm a bully maggot. I go, that doesn't apply to me, I'm one of the people. And I start eating. And he's like, excuse me? The people? I'm like, you never heard of the people? He's like, no. I'm like, I'm not we the people. It means I'm your boss. So leave me alone. He's like, sir, I'm volunteer, but I'm going to have to go up and get the ranger, and he will write you a citation. I go, do me a favor. I says, can you just bring all the rangers down here, please? And so I'm eating my salad, and my wife, she exited. She's like, anyways. So I'm waiting, and now I'm waiting for them, and they're not here. So I'm marching up, and I see the little ranger shack up there, and I go, excuse me, somebody was supposed to come down and give me a ticket. I've been down there waiting. What for? I says, why? Do you realize how ridiculous that policy you have here in this park that I can't eat? What in the world is that for? Well, that's in case you litter. I go, okay, well, littering is an infraction. And sure, if I threw my, salad dispenser on the ground, that would be littering, and that's a code violation. But you can't stop people from eating, so I'm going to have to get that on a piece of paper. I want to see that policy on paper. And well, we don't have it on paper. I'm like, okay. So there was 3 of them in the shack. I'm like, who knows the Bill of Rights here? Neither one of them. I'm like, when's the last time you read the Bill of Rights? And they're like, well, high school. I'm like, do you guys realize that you swore an oath to the Constitution and that you signed it, sworn and subscribed oath of office? And when you violate that oath, it's called felony perjury of your oath. And if you accidentally forgot to take your oath of office, now you're impersonating a public official, which is another felony. So I want to go, if you guys want to write me a ticket, give it your best shot. So they just left me alone. And so that's the reason why I use that story. I have about a dozen of those. That's my last story for tonight. But we are the people, right? We the people. So this nation is supposed to be a Republican form of government, right? Not the Republican Party. Res publica means of the people. Okay? So that's called a republic. A democracy is not a republic. And what we got now is kind of like a democracy. Oh, we're protecting democracy. And so with democracy, you don't have the people in charge, basically. You get to vote, but the people are not in charge. And another thing it is we're having group rights, right? So I'm starting to get, as I'm growing wiser, I'm growing wider too. So I'm thinking, well, man, I should start Fat Lives Matter, I think, maybe. You know what I mean? Because I want, my fat rights, right? We have gay rights, we have women's rights, we have all kinds of rights, group rights. And so, you know what I can do? I can start lobbying the airlines because, they always put me in the middle, right? I'm like this on a flight, which I'm suing United Airlines, by the way. That's no big surprise, right? But anyways, and it's not for my seat. So I'm in there, so I can hire lobbyists, and they can go and lobby politicians and give them a bunch of money to force the airlines to make their seats wider. And then we can come into the booths of the restaurants, and my little group rights can change everybody else's freedom by enforcing what my group wants. Does that make sense? We have individual rights. There's no such thing as hate speech and group rights. It's free speech, and we're all individually protected by our creator endowed rights that are guaranteed and protected by the Constitution. So I want to talk about status of who we are. But before I get going on that, I'm going to introduce a member of our team, Kirk. Why don't you introduce yourself and share a little bit?
Thank you, Tony. My name's Kirk. I'm an addict. Is this the right group? I'm an addict to reading what my rights are, history, law, which has kind of just been a personal hobby for the last 20 plus years. It kind of happens when you're totally screwed over, and you know that you're screwed over, but you don't know what to do about it, which is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to educate people. We're trying to empower you, and it literally does empower you. I've spent 16 hours straight reading nothing but law because it's so empowering. I can't stop. And I hate to read. I'll tell you that. I hate to read. So when it comes to reading law, it's something totally different. When you realize what your rights are and you figure out that somebody else is violating those rights. And when you're talking about rights, that means that somebody has a duty that they owe to you to respect those rights. And when they violate those rights, well, there's remedies under the law. We're going to teach you what those remedies under the law are. We have roughly 572 years of making law. We the people lay down, ordain, and establish law, not government. Government didn't even exist 572 years ago, not as in the United States of America. It was the monarch, the crown, English, British crown, which is part of the despotism that we're under today. When you read the Declaration of Independence, there's a lot of despotism that's talked about in there, and the reason why we declared our independence from the King of England. We literally put a gun to the King John's head and said, look, you're going to sign this Magna Carta. And we're talking about 1215 AD. Okay? Not much for weapons, we're talking about black powder. But they're still putting a muzzle to the king's head. And you're going to sign this Magna Carta, and we're declaring our independence, and we're declaring liberty for everybody, for every human being across the land. So this is clear back in 1215. This is the 572 years of law that I'm talking about. And there's a lot of it, but there's only a few set documents that actually declare what our rights are. And through succession of law, no right can be diminished, disparaged. That's the Ninth Amendment. And that was James Madison's deal about the Ninth Amendment and the Bill of Rights, because he actually argued against having a Bill of Rights because the Declaration of Independence specifically says our rights are self-evident. Why do we need to list what our rights are? Because, well, government will construe that these 10 amendments are your only rights. And, well, if it's part of the Constitution, well, the Constitution actually created government, right? It did. So, if we're creating government, and here's these Bill of Rights, the government says, well, this is all of the rights that you have. And James Madison says, no. I'm putting in the Ninth Amendment so that it retains all of the rights that have been previously laid down, ordained, and established as law, because rights are law. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary. Rights are law. Statutes are not law. Rights are law. So that's our history of law. I'll be going through some of that. Tony will be going through some of that. And in order to understand our history of law, I like to go, what's 2 plus 2? 4. How much is it? 4. What's 2 minus 2? 0. What's 2 times 2? 4. What about 2 divided by 2? 2 divided by 2 is what? How do we all in this room know exactly the correct answer? Aside from being self-evident, they weren't self-evident until you learn the founding principles behind mathematics.
He teaches on due process. In accordance with the Constitution, among his rights are refusal to incriminate himself, right? You have a right to remain silent. And the immunity of himself and his property from arrest of seizure except under warrant of the law. He owes nothing to the public so long as he does not trespass upon somebody else's rights. Okay? So no injured party, no crime. And we have people going to jail for victimless crimes. We have people getting penalized in fees. People losing their driver's license because their child support check didn't go through somehow, and the guy's driving down the road and I don't know, could have got lost in the mail. A friend of mine, he got pulled over and the officer's like, I have to arrest you. He said, what for? Well, your license has been suspended. We're going to tow your vehicle. He had no idea that his child support check, this is in California. I've spent 25 years there. That's why I'm doing this. It's crazy. Idaho better not change any worse than it already is. I just bought a house here 2 years ago. So anyways, so he got arrested and his car got towed and he didn't even know that his license was suspended because they're supposed to notify him. So that's why these officers are supposed to honor your rights as the people above the line, but because below the line, you're just a corporation. And I know this kind of, some people's brains are going on tilt. It's like, what am I? Because you have a right to contract. Like Hill versus Hinkle, if I go down to AT&T and I want to get a cell phone, I can't say, hey, I'm a constitutionalist and I don't have state ID, but I want a cell phone. Where do I sign on the contract? You can't do it. We wonder why everybody's asking for ID when you're contracting. Contract law is everything has to be in line.